Okay, so Ji, chale, thank you, Ji, for everybody to join again, inshallah. So last time, I mean, we started with the passive study, and I think we need to go through that again. थोड़ा सा हम थोड़ा और स्ट्रक्चर्ड तरीके से उसको समझने की कोशिश करते हैं. लास्ट टाइम जरा थोड़ा सा मुझे लगा कि बहुत ज्यादा थोड़ा सा वो नहीं था, यानी didn't really strike with me कि आपको सही समझ आया हो या नहीं समझ आया हो. ठीक है. तो let's do the passives again, inshallah, today, and take things from there. So we saw last time that in Arabic you have different types of fi'ls. You have past, you have present, and then you have commanding, you have forbidding. Okay, these types of fi'ls. These are all usually active fi'ls. Okay. And in these fi'ls, you आपको पता है इनमें doer जो होता है known होता है. So the doer is known. Okay. So these are active fi'ls. So when you know these four types of fi'ls, then comes the other category, which is the passive fi'ls. Okay. जो passives होते हैं, passives can be from the past tense and the present tense. Right. So they are passives, but they have a relationship with the past tense and the present tense both, and we need to do both. Well, first before we even do passives, let's try to understand why they are actually needed in any language. So it's important because फिर जब आप decode करते हैं कुरान को भी, and it is used in different ways in the Quran. So that's something we need to understand as a team. So why they are used in certain ways. And it's a very long study, and of course comes with experience as well. I'm also a student of this study myself. So inshallah, as we grow together, we will learn. So what are the reasons for using passives? So that's something we need to learn first. So the reason number one is that you want to play safe. When you want to play safe, for example, imagine कीजिए there is a controversial contract that a country is going to sign with another country. There is not too much support of that contract, for example. There's some sort of diplomatic relationship going on. The president goes and signs the contract against the will of the people, right? For example. So, and when he goes and talks to the people, he, instead of saying, I have signed the contract, he says, the contract has been signed. The contract has been signed, leaving it open for people to comprehend who signed the contract. So when you want to play safe in some things, you also use passive. In the past, in the times of the Arabs, they were, of course, it was a lawless society. So the political maneuvers बहुत ugly होते थे. So people used to hire poets and writers to defame somebody else. So when you are defaming somebody else through your poetry and through your write-ups, you are actually making yourself vulnerable. So when you're making yourself vulnerable, you want to play safe. So instead of saying that he stopped the aid, you would say the aid was stopped. You play safe. So that's one of the reasons passives are used when you want to play safe. So another reason when passives are used is to create mystery. To create mystery, sometimes also create horror. I mean, kind of fear. Uh, for example, instead of saying he was he killed somebody, you are saying he was killed. Right? So now you're opening a plethora box. Who killed him? Okay. So who killed him? So basically hiding the doer. In every case, you're hiding the doer. Because basically, passives are fails that on purpose hide the doer. Okay? They don't show off the doer. And the way they are used in various different scenarios is what we are doing. So sometimes you want to create that mystery. that who killed somebody and who actually did that action. So that's another reason the passives are used in many ways, also in the Quran. Okay? Um, the third reason could potentially be when you want to show how easily something is done, how easily something is done. So Allah says in the Quran, وَفُتِحَتِ السَّمَاءُ وَكَانَتْ أَبْوَابًا. The skies, uh, the skies were opened or will be opened. Okay, the skies will be opened. Now, opening a sky is a big deal, right? So it's not an easy job. Uh, Probably an impossible job for everyone. So, but when Allah says skies will be open, He just says it as if it's not a big deal, right? So sometimes you want to demonstrate the authority that you have on something. You also use passive for that. Okay.
Or
So
same
they
thing like kun fayakun, like
kun fayakun is not passive.
okay,
Kun means be, fayakun, so it is. So it
right.
is not passive. It is an active sentence. Other reasons could also be, for example, when there is no reason to mention a doer. It's not important to mention a doer. Okay, so you also use passive. Sometimes you use passives when you want to put more emphasis on action than who did the action. Okay, so you want to put more emphasis on the action instead of who actually is doing the action. So that's also where passives are used. So there are various reasons, and inshallah we will encounter them as we go along in our study of passives. It's an interesting topic, but it's also a topic that requires little more deeper understanding of why things are used in the Quran the way they are used. वो हम अब उसको करेंगे एक ऐसे एक certain level पे जो हमें अभी पता है और inshallah we'll grow together in that more deeply inshallah later on. So these are fundamental reasons. Now, question is every fail supporting passives? Can every fail have a passive? Now, uh, the answer is no. Every fail cannot have a passive. There are some fails that can have a passive, some cannot have a passive. Okay. And the litmus test to really check if a fail can have a passive or not is something that we did in the last class called transitivity. How do I find out if a fail has a passive? Okay. That's the principle of transitivity. Now, transitivity is a very important concept, and I'll try to explain it in a way that it's easier for us, inshallah. So let's say I write a sentence that he ate the cookie. Now, now tell me the impact of the action eating. Where is it going? Is it going on the doer or is it going on the detail?
Detail.
Detail. So the cookies के ऊपर इसका impact जाता है, right? And then you can also say the same thing like the cookies were eaten. Now where is the impact now?
Again on detail.
Again on the detail. Again on the cookies, right? It's again on the cookies. So no matter you write it in the first way or the second way, it's the cookies that's impacted. So this one is an active sentence, and the second one is a passive sentence. In active sentence, you know the doer. In the passive sentence, you don't know the doer, right? You've hidden the doer, but the impact is on the same thing, right? Now, if I pick up the first sentence, the question that I will ask myself, what did he eat? That's the question that will give me the cookies, right? Now, the second one, What was eaten? This will also give me the cookies, right? It's going to give me the same thing. The common thing in both is that I'm asking the question, what? Right? With me on this, everyone? We're asking the question, what? Now let's construct another example. For example, he hit Ali. He hit Ali. Okay. Now, in this case, the doer is known because it's he. So therefore, it's an active sentence. Okay. If I say Ali was hit, the doer is unknown and it's a passive sentence, right? In the first case, I'm saying, who did he hit? The answer is Ali. In the second case, I'm saying, who was hit? The answer is Ali, right? Same thing. Now, in this particular case, you're asking who. So the point I'm trying to explain to you is, so whenever you are finding the detail by asking what and who, that type of detail is called maf'ul bihi. Maf'ul bihi answers questions of what and who. Okay? That is what I'm trying to get you at. Right? So in these cases, you have asked question what and who. So you pick up the fail and you construct a question with that fail using what. Then you pick up a fail and you construct a question using who. If you get that answer, that detail is maf'ul bihi. Okay, this is a categorization of maf'ul bihi. Now, let's do another example. He ate pizza in the kitchen. Okay. Now, he ate pizza in the kitchen. I know the doer. So I know it's an active sentence, right? Now I'm asking the question, what did he eat? My answer is pizza. So pizza is going to be maf'ul bihi because it answers the question what. If I say where did he eat the pizza, the answer is going to be the kitchen. Now kitchen is not maf'ul bihi. Kitchen is not maf'ul bihi. Kitchen is something else. Kitchen is answering the question where. It's called maf'ul fihi. That's a separate story. We are not going there right now. Okay? So we are sticking to maf'ul bihi. So we are interested in what and who. There can be sentences, there can be fails that do not have maf'ul bihi. For example, if I just write he ate in the kitchen. Now you have it as you have a doer and you know it's active and you can ask where did he eat, which will give you the kitchen, but you do not know what did he eat. So the what is missing, right? So it means it has no maf'ul bihi. Okay. So not every fail will come with maf'ul bihi. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to get you at. So when you have a fail that can take maf'ul bihi, how do we identify a fail can take maf'ul bihi? Let me write few in English and we'll try to see. Okay? For example, he ate, he um, he slept, he ran, he walked, he cried, Let's try to see if these fi'ls can have maf'ul bihi. So the trick is you pick up the fi'l and you add a question word what or who in front of it. For example, he ate, you add what or who. That's what you're doing in your mind. Okay? What or who. If your answer is that you can put someone or something directly, then this fail supports maf'ul bihi. Let me give you an example. He ate. Can I write something directly without using any preposition, any other word, and make sure that this sentence makes sense? Like, for example, he ate an apple. Now, an apple in Arabic is one word. Just keep that in mind, right? An apple in Arabic is one word. Okay. So if I write this, I have actually written a detail directly in front of the fail. So I can say, basically, it conforms to the structure. He ate something. I can build that format. You understand? I can build that format. If I go to the next example, he slept. Right? He slept. Can I say he slept what or who? He slept something or someone? Does it make sense? He slept someone or something?
No.
It does not make sense. You need additional word. He slept on someone or something, with someone or something, under something or someone, and so on. So you need something else. So the directly answering someone or something does not make sense with the fail slept. He slept, right? So this fail basically cannot take a maf'ul bihi. So that's the test you're doing. So you are trying to identify if a fail can have a detail that answers the questions what or who. It's a formula that we're trying to build. So slept cannot take. He ran someone or something. What do you think? Can we have he ran someone or something? Or do we need an additional word to actually put a detail in
He
front of it?
ran fast.
He ran fast.
But that is the answer of how.
But that is
So
the
That is a
answer, not
how.
of how.
Correct. It's not what and who.
Hmm.
I want what and who.
So, Fahad bhai, in other words, can we say that wherever we need a preposition, that is a sentence where we don't adjust fail be he?
Preposition से क्या मतलब है आपका?
सर जैसे आपने कहा कि आपको जहां पोजीशन जैसे अंडर या इन या विद, मतलब आपने कोई ना कोई पोजीशन का
Preposition. जी जी जी. So if you need a preposition, you cannot have a maf'ul bihi. ठीक है? If you have to add under, add on, for, from, anything like that, then you cannot have maf'ul bihi. Maf'ul bihi has to come direct. Okay? Directly. Okay? So he ran someone or something is not possible here. Will not make sense. Now let's look at walked. Can I say he walked with me? And I can say he walked a dog, right? He walked a dog. I can say both things, right? With me or not? If you take your pet to a walk, for a walk, don't you say he walked the dog? He walked the talk, right? Don't you say like that? QG,
मेरे ख्याल से तो नहीं ऐसे कहते, but I may
Walk
be
the
wrong.
walk and talk the talk. sir.
Walk the walk.
Anji?
He
मेरा भी
walk the
ख्याल
walk
से-
and talk the talk.
नहीं, मुझे ये बताएं कि do you agree this first sentence is a correct sentence?
Yes.
He walked with me, right?
Yes.
Now you have me, which is an ism, but you have with it. So
Yeah,
this is the case where
preposition.
you cannot have maf'ul bihi. No maf'ul bihi. Okay. Now he walked a dog. Now I'm addressing people in England. Waqas bhai, Shams bhai, your thoughts on this? Walked a dog. What is your view? Do you think we say things like that or not? Here.
No.
जी सर, ये स्टेटमेंट तो यू बिल्कुल यूज होती है। मैं हमेशा ये समझता था इन लोगों को इंग्लिश नहीं आती।
वैसे वैसे बात सुने, मैंने ना ब्रिटिश को बहुत दफा देखा है ऐसी भोंगी अंग्रेजी मारते हुए, फिर कहते हैं कि हमें अंग्रेजी बहुत अच्छी आती है।
वैसे मैं आपको बताऊं, दिस इज अ करेक्ट इंग्लिश सेंटेंस, ही वॉक्ड अ डॉग। ठीक है, इट इज यूज्ड क्वाइट वाइडली, ग्रामेटिकली करेक्ट। उसकी रीजन ये है कि the verb walked is used in two ways. One, with the detail that is related to maf'ul bihi type of detail, what and who, and one is not, because there are examples where you can have a fail that is sometimes supporting maf'ul bihi and sometimes not. Arabic में भी ऐसा ही होता है, but वो ये होता है कि जब हम usually नहीं use कर रहे होते उसको, तो that it sounds abnormal. Okay, so this is not a very usual way of saying it, but it is not a wrong way of saying it. I was walking my dog, or I was walking the dog. That is absolutely fine. I mean, people use this type of language.
Yes, they do.
Okay? So in this particular case, there is maf'ul bihi. So this is one example of a fail where you can and cannot have maf'ul bihi depending upon how it is used. Okay. He cried someone or something. Does it make sense? He cried someone or something. क्या ख्याल है?
सर मेरे हिसाब से तो नहीं है।
मेरे ख्याल से इसमें मफूल भी नहीं है।
नहीं है, it doesn't make sense. ठीक है, he cried someone or something doesn't make sense, so there is no maf'ul bihi. Now the whole point of doing all of this is for us to develop a perspective of how can we identify if a fail takes a maf'ul bihi or not, because maf'ul bihi has a very strong link with the passives. Now I'm going to go back to the same example. He ate the cookies. इसमें मफूल भी क्या था? The cookies. फिर हमने कहा the cookies were eaten. इसमें किस में इम्पैक्ट आया था? The cookies पे, right? Now in the first sentence, the cookies is a detail. It's a detail, and he is a doer. Okay. Now this is a detail. Now this detail is categorized as maf'ul bihi because it answers the question what or who. In the second case, the cookies were eaten. The cookies is not a detail anymore. Because
But
it's not a,
yes,
Ji.
but it answers the question what was eaten.
It
Right.
answers the question what was eaten. Exactly. It answers the question what was eaten, but it is not used as a traditional detail. In the passive world, it is called done to. The thing on which the action was done to. It is the same thing in the active sentence and in the passive sentence because it receives the impact of the action. But the labeling is different. Okay? In the active sentence, you call the cookies a maf'ul bihi. In the passive sentence, you call the same maf'ul bihi a done to, which in Arabic is na'ibul fa'il. Na'ibul fa'il. Fa'il, sorry. Na'ibul fa'il. The done to. Because you don't have a doer, in passive world, you don't have a doer, you have a na'ibul fa'il. And na'ibul fa'il is actually a maf'ul bihi in the active world. That's what we are trying to get to. Okay. So the fails, is this clear? यहाँ तक क्लियर है? समझ आ गई ये चीज की नहीं आई?
जी फहद भाई।
ठीक हो गया? So that is why it's important for us to understand how maf'ul bihi works in the active sentence and how it changes when it comes to the passive sentence. So maf'ul bihi of the active sentence is actually a naibul file of a passive sentence. Okay, so in the naibul file will tell you what and who, and maf'ul bihi in active will also tell you what and who. Okay. Now there are files that can take maf'ul bihi. There are fields that cannot take maf'ul bihi, just like we did before. For example, he cried cannot take maf'ul bihi. And for example, he ate can take maf'ul bihi. So the fails, the fails. जी
फाइल वाला जो है ना नाइबल फाइल ये जरा थोड़ी सा रिपीट कर देंगे once you are done with this.
नहीं तो पहले इसको क्लियर करते हैं ना, ताकि
Yes.
सब चीजें क्लियर हो, फिर आगे बढ़ते हैं इंशाल्लाह. So I will say, for example, I read a book. Okay. So my question is, what did I read? The answer is book. ठीक है? The book was read. What was read?
The book.
Book. In both cases, the what is giving the answer, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. The second thing is the impact of the verb read goes on the book in the first case, right?
Yes.
The impact of the word read also goes on the book in the second case. So every time it's the impact on the book, correct?
Yeah.
So in first case, this book is maf'ul bihi because it's an active sentence. That's the label you use it in an active sentence. You'll call it, it's a maf'ul, it's a detail, it's nasab, and it's maf'ul bihi. If you classify it as maf'ul bihi because it answers what.
Yeah.
In the second case, you will say it's not maf'ul bihi, it's actually naibul file. You'll change the label because it's a passive.
Okay. Yeah, but it still answers the question what.
It still answers the question what. What और who दोनों valid है. मैंने अभी what की examples दी आपको. What और who का जो answer आपको देते हैं, that is the maf'ul bihi, and that is the naibul file in the passive world. No other maf'ul changes. So why, where, when, how it was done, how much it was done, that remains the same. It's only maf'ul bihi from the active world that changes into the naibul file in the passive world. Okay, so so in the passive world, this naibul file is actually acting as a done to because the impact is received by it, right? It's a receiver of the impact. इसको done to कहा जाता है. ठीक है? Now if I take an example, she ate an apple versus she slept. Now in the first case,
An active sentence.
you have an active sentence and you can have a maf'ul bihi, correct?
Yeah.
So this type of fi'ls that can have a maf'ul bihi are called muta'addi. बल्कि मैं आपको पहले आसान ज़बान में कहता हूँ, transitive. They're called transitive. Okay. The second case, it's still an active sentence. She slept. We know the doer, right? But she slept. Someone, something add नहीं कर सकते आप इसके आगे, right? Doesn't make sense. This type of fi'ls are called intransitive. They can't have maf'ul bihi. They cannot answer the question what and how or what and who, right? So only the fi'ls which are transitive, because they have maf'ul bihi, they can get the passive form because they have a maf'ul bihi to make naibul file. If a fail does not even have a maf'ul bihi, how can it become a passive? Because then it cannot have a naibul file. You understand? So only the transitive fails can change into passives. The intransitives do not change into passive. So for example, there is a fail in Arabic, jalasa. Jalasa means he sat. Now
Khalas,
that you
jalasa ya khalasa?
sorry, jalasa typo. One khalas ho gaya to. Jalasa.
बस गलती पकड़ने का शौक है.
But you said only transitive file can change into passive.
Transitive
Right.
fails can
Fails.
have passives.
ठीक है?
Transitive fails can have passive, and transitives are
और
those who have maf'ul bihi.
exactly. So जब हम
मतलब
आगे
एक-
पढ़ेंगे तो
मतलब
जिन
मफूल
sorry,
भी
सब
जैसे एक मैं काट रहा हूँ क्योंकि जस्ट मफूल भी प्लस नाइबुल फेल क्योंकि दोनों के केस में आंसर व्हाट है.
G. Active fail will call it maf'ul bihi. Passive fail will call it naibul file.
Yes.
Okay. Now we have a fail jalasa, jalasu, jalasat, and so on. Right now, this is an active fail. If you just write jalasa, he sat is independently a full sentence. He sat. Okay. Now my question to you is: do you think this is transitive or intransitive? Can it have a maf'ul bihi, someone or something? Can you put someone or something after it, or not directly?
No.
no.
No, right? It is intransitive.
तो इसका पैसिव नहीं हो
It
सकता.
means jalasa you cannot change to passive. You can't change that fail to passive. But on the other hand, we have another fail, let's say allama, meaning he taught. Right? Now, he taught independently is a sentence, but can you put someone or something right in
Yes.
front?
He taught
Yes.
Arabic.
He taught Arabic. Absolutely. So this is transitive. And it can have passive. Understand? When it will have passive, this word Arabic is going to become a naibul file. Okay. In this case, this is maf'ul bihi. What did he teach? Arabic. Now, if I change it to passive, it will
Ullima.
be Arabic was taught. This is the passive, right? And in this case, the impact is still on Arabic, and Arabic is going to be the naibul file.
समझ आ गई. Okay, good.
Clear?
बाजी जरा font जरा सा छोटा करना है, zoom in, zoom out करना.
Zoom out करो.
जब छोटा कर दो वरना मैंने एक तरह ऊपर से एग्जांपल ले लिया.
अच्छा अच्छा स्क्रीनशॉट पकड़नी एक मिनट रुक जाओ. I'll bring all of that down for you. Wait a second.
परफेक्ट. हाँ, क्योंकि हमारे पास नोट्स नहीं है ना, तो ये
तो यार ऐसा कर सकते हैं कि एक शेड ड्राइव बना के ना ये सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स उसमें डाल सकते हैं हम लोग.
यार इट विल बी वेरी हेल्पफुल. मेरे ख्याल से पहले हम शेयर करते थे, बट ऐसे हमने
Did we? अच्छा वो मैं एक शेड ड्राइव बना के ना लिंक शेयर कर दूंगा, ग्रुप की डिस्क्रिप्शन में डाल दूंगा. एवरीथिंग विल बी देयर इंशाल्लाह. ठीक है, क्लियर है यहाँ तक? So it's important for us to understand the transitivity of a fail before we can check if it can have a passive or not.
अच्छा फाद, अभी जो हमने सारा कुछ पढ़ा है उसमें हम जो है इंट्रांसिटिव को कभी कंसीडर नहीं कर रहे. ठीक है, हम बेसिकली फोकस करेंगे ट्रांजिटिव सेंटेंस को जो कि एक एक्टिव होंगे, और अगर हम उन्हें पैसिव में करें तो वो जो वर्ड है वो नाइबल फाइल बन जाएगा.
जी,
ठीक
जो
है,
मफूल भी है वो नाइबुल फाइल बन जाएगा.
नाइबल
बिल्कुल
फाइल. ठीक है,
बिल्कुल. और कोई क्वेश्चन अभी फिलहाल? If you want to sound more Islamic,
नहीं इतनी अरबी काफी है.
मैं बता देता हूँ यार. मुतअद्दी, आई थिंक इसी तरह लिखते हैं, मुतअद्दी. Transitive fails are mutaaddi, if I'm not mistaken. I think या नहीं होता, ये इस तरह लिखते हैं. और intransitive होते हैं, intransitive are lazim. So if a fi'l is lazim, it cannot have a passive. If a fi'l is mutaaddi, it can have a passive. How do we know if a fi'l is mutaaddi? We try to put someone or something directly after it. If we can, it is mutaaddi. If we cannot, it is not. That's the formula. Okay. अच्छा जी, अब आपको पता है कि I mean, let me not give you the terminology. Let's stick to the past tense first, inshallah. Now, अभी तक आपने सिर्फ ये देखा है कि how do we detect if a fi'l can have a passive or not, and that mechanism is transitivity. For that, it was important for us to understand what is maf'ul bihi and how it is used in the fi'ls that we know today. Yeah. So when I say nasara Muhammadan, he helped Muhammad. Does this sentence have a maf'ul bihi?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes, it does, because it answers who did he help?
Muhammad.
The answer is Muhammad. So the word Muhammad, abhi tak hame pata tha, this is a maf'ul. Now we are going one level deeper. We're saying it's a maf'ul bihi. We're classifying that maf'ul. Okay. So if I extend this sentence, Nasara Muhammadan, fil masjidin. Fil masjidi. Is this a maf'ul bihi? Fi masjidi.
Nay. Nay.
What question is it answering?
Where?
Where?
So we are saying, where did he help? In the masjid. So this maf'ul with that answers where is maf'ul fihi. Okay? When and where is maf'ul fihi. So there are different kinds of maf'ul. So अब आप उस level पे जा रहे हैं कि जब आप एक next level पे जाके अपनी maf'ul को break down करके classify करने लगे हैं. ठीक है? जो passives के लिए relevant है, that is maf'ul bihi, because that changes in the passive word. No impact is on other types of maf'uls. मफूल फीही का कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं है, सब वैसे ही रहता है, सिर्फ मफूल बी ही चेंज होता है. दैट्स व्हाई इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस टू अंडरस्टैंड मफूल बी ही, एंड द ट्रांजिटिविटी इज योर मेथड टू डिटेक्ट इफ द फेल कैन हैव अ पैसिव और नॉट. ठीक हो गया यहां तक? अब आगे बढ़ जाते हैं. Now let's come to the methods now. How do we detect in Arabic if a fail is a passive or not? We did previously a little bit on the past tense. So let me write few here. So one is Nasara. Let me write Sami'a. Let me write Daraba. Aslama. Let me write Allama. Let me write Istaghfara. Istaghfara. Let's start with them. ठीक है. देखिए ये जो फेयर्स है ना सारे, I'll change the font little bit so it's more clearer. Wait a second. एक चीज को आपको जहन में रखना है, ये जो लास्ट लेटर है, this letter is used to create new pronoun forms. right? You will have nasara, you will have nasara, and then you will have nasaru. So let me expand it a little bit here. So you will have nasara, and then you will have nasara. The combination of ra and alif tells you this is huma. Okay. Then you have nasaru. Now you see the change on the ra. The ra is always changing because you're looking at the ra to find out the inside doer, isn't it? In the active form. That's what you do. Because the last letter of the fail keeps on changing and it is required to find the inside doer, you cannot impact that when you are changing this fail in the passive form. Last letter के ऊपर कोई impact नहीं आता. That remains the way it is. इस चीज को हमने समझना है सबसे पहले. The impact comes in the beginning and in the middle. The last doesn't change, and this is for the past tense specifically. Okay, this is for past tense.
फादी इसलिए बिकॉज क्या हम असल में पैसिव के अंदर आंसर कर रहे हैं व्हाट और हु को, नॉट
इस पे भी
डूअर
आता
को.
है. अभी इसका थोड़ा सा होल्ड करो, मैं इसका आंसर देता हूँ आपको. ठीक है. सो अभी पहले हम ये प्रिंसिपल समझ लें कि लास्ट लेटर को चेंज नहीं करना हमने पैसिव के केस में भी. इट रिमेन्स द सेम. We learned last time that the passive in past tense takes u sound in the beginning. It keeps on taking the u sound wherever there is a haraka other than sukun. It keeps on taking the u sound, and the second last letter takes the e sound.
ई साउंड.
The second last letter takes the e sound. In case of nasara, the first letter is noon. And we know that past tense keeps on taking the u sound until it hits the second last letter. So you're going to say nu. That's the first letter. Then we have sod. Now we identify sod as a second last letter. Because it's a second last letter, we are going to give it e sound. Okay. And the last letter we don't change at all. So it's going to stay same. Nu sira. Okay. Now you have constructed a passive. Now तला का question है कि what वाला question वो भी आंसर होता है. अब जैसे नसरा का केस था, that nasara means he helped. Now this particular one nusira also have a hua inside it. It also have a hua inside it. But that hua cannot be a doer because in a passive you don't have a doer. Instead you have a naibul fa'il. You have a done to. So you are going to translate it as he was helped. He was helped. Now difference को notice करें आप. In the nasara case, action was done by he. But in the nusira case, the action is done to he. Isn't it?
हाँ,
The action is done
उसको
to
मदद मिली है.
Correct.
So he was helped. He was
He
helped.
was helped. Correct. So in the first case, you are still answering who helped.
Yes.
Your answer is he. यहाँ पे you're still answering who was helped.
But done to है.
Your answer is still he.
Yes.
But in the first case, it is doer. And in the second case, it is
Done to.
done to.
Sorry.
You understand? Now, this hua is the naibul file. It's an inside naibul file. You had an inside file in case of the nasara, right? Inside doer. In this case, you have inside naibul file. Clear? Everyone with me or not? Uncomfortable
जी.
silence in the class?
नहीं तो फहद भाई जो लास्ट वर्ड का हरकत
जी.
है वो बताती है वो हमें बताती है कि who helped.
जी.
ठीक है.
The last letter, आप देखते हैं past tense में जब आप डिटेक्ट करते हैं what is the inside pronoun, you're looking at the ending, aren't you? Right? So वो ending produce होती है आपके last letter के साथ मिलके और कुछ additional उसके साथ add होता है every time. Nasara, Nasara, Nasaru, Nasarat, Nasarata, Nasarna, and so on. This Ra has a relationship with whatever is added to it as well. So you can't change that part. In this case, this same ending is still telling you it's Hua. If Nusira is he was helped, you could say, wait a second. You could say कहाँ चला गया यार? Nusira still has the same ending as Nasara. In that case, this will be they both were helped. The question will still remain. Who was helped? You say they both, which is basically Huma, isn't it? आप देख रहे हैं एंडिंग नहीं चेंज हो रही है यहाँ पे, exact same ending. Now if I ask you, what is the home form of the passive? Any guesses?
Home form for the passive.
Nusiru.
जी, Nusiru.
Yeah.
Nusiru. Perfect. Same ending, exactly same ending. You see, we've never changed that ending. The change is happening before. The beginning is starting with oo sound and it keeps on having the oo sound until it hits the second last letter, right before the last letter. And that is where it gets the kasra. Okay? और ये nusiru बन जाएगा, they all were helped.
फातिक में 4 letter fail की example देंगे
जी,
please.
मैं जाता हूँ, कभी जाता हूँ. Let's come to istaghfara. That's why I wrote this one. Now let's try to construct the fail out of this, passive out of this. Now the first letter is alif. Okay. We said that it's going to take oo until it hits the second last letter. So it's going to take us, then comes the seen. Is there a haraka on seen or is there a sukoon on seen?
Sukoon.
Sukoon. If it is sukoon, leave it. Don't bother it. Then there is ta. Is it the second last letter? No, it's not the second last letter, right? Last letter is ra. The second last is fa. Okay. So because it's not second last, you keep on putting u. Now you come to ghain. Is there a sukoon on ghain or there is a haraka on ghain?
Sukoon.
Sukoon. Then leave it. Don't touch it. Then you come to fa. Is this a second last letter?
G.
Yes. Put a kasra. And then keep the ending the way it is. Ustughfira. Ustughfira. Okay. So this istaghfara means it's difficult to translate. Is he sought forgiveness. He sought forgiveness, and the passive would be forgiveness was sought. Now in English, it's a limitation of English. You can't say him. You have to say for him. This is, let me write it in bracket. Otherwise, in English translation will not make sense. Right? In the first case, you know he's the doer. I'll move it to the next page. In the first case, you know he is the doer. And in the second case, you know that he's done too. Okay. आपको प्रोसेस क्लियर है कि कैसे कंस्ट्रक्ट हो रहा है पैसिव? Once you have constructed the हुआ form, you can construct the full chart. उस्तुग़फ़िरा, उस्तुग़फ़िरा, उस्तुग़फ़िरू, उस्तुग़फ़िरत, उस्तुग़फ़िरता, उस्तुग़फ़िरना. Nothing changes there. The entire chart is same. But you need to understand the process of making something passive and what impact it creates on the inside doer. The inside doer becomes the naibul file, the inside done to, basically. Is that much clear?
जी फहद भाई अभी क्लियर है लेकिन
फहद
obviously
जी
revise
उस तो
करना
फिर
पड़ेगा।
की अंतर फॉर्म जो है उस तो फिर था ये
उस तो फिर था,
उस तक फिर तुम आओ उस तक फिर तुम।
करेक्ट, इज द सेम, नथिंग चेंजेस।
और उसकी जो है अंति फॉर्म वो थोड़ी सी वो लगती है
उस तो फिर
उस्तुगफिरिती।
थी।
क्यों, क्या ऑड लगता है इसमें?
पता नहीं ऐसे।
साउंड ऑड लग रही है आपको?
हाँ हाँ,
दिस इज व्हाट इट इज।
जिस तरह था ना नुसिर
नसरती था जैसे,
हाँ नसरती था,
नसरती था,
हाँ,
समेती था, दरिबती था, अस्तगफिरती था, राइट?
अंति हमेशा मुश्किल होता है, सही कह रहे हैं।
बस ये आपने जितनी फलसफियाना कर दी है ना बात, पर इस पे मेरे ख्याल कंक्लूड कर लेते हैं आज। ये जबरदस्त। There is nothing abnormal about it, Sahib. वो हमें लग रहा है क्योंकि we are not really used to listening passives that closely.
ठीक है।
ठीक है ना? ऐसा मसला है कोई नहीं। ठीक है, तो as far as you understand this, my advice would be to just convert these that you know already. So अब इसका मुझे क्विकली से बता दें। मैं कहता हूं आपको, मुझे आपने समिया का लेट्स से अंतुम फॉर्म जो है, अंतुम फॉर्म जो है वो मुझे चाहिए पैसिव में। तो फर्स्ट गिव मी द एक्टिव ऑफ अंतुम।
समय तुम
समय तुम,
समय तुम हाँ
ठीक है। नाउ लेट्स ट्राई टू कंस्ट्रक्ट अ पैसिव आउट ऑफ इट।
समय तुम
पहले पे लगाया सु, ठीक है। मीम regardless ये second last है, third last है, whatever, it is a form of a fail, it already comes with a kasra, so you don't change it, ठीक है। second last letter था, automatically उस पे कसरा था, so you don't have to do one change, you have to bring and then you keep the things separate. last letter आप कुछ नहीं change करेंगे, जैसे ही था, और फिर तुम सुमे तुम। आप देखें, the only difference is sa and su, and you have completely changed the meaning of this fail. If is you all listen, or
you all were listened.
you all listen nahi hai, heard, I guess. You all heard, you all were heard. ठीक है। जो पैसिव्स होते हैं उनको मजहूल कहा जाता है अरबी जुबान में, मजहूल्स। जैसे फेल माजी पास्ट टेंस को कहते हैं, फेल मुदारे प्रेजेंट टेंस को कहते हैं, दीज आर एक्टिव्स। दिस इज, अगर आपको बहुत ज्यादा अपने इमाम साहब को इम्प्रेस करना है तो आप कह सकते हैं उनको जाके फेल, दैट्स व्हाट यू कैन से, फेल माजी, फेल माजी मजहूल, that's what you're saying basically. It's a past tense fail in passive. Majhul comes from a word jahala. jahala का जो फाइल होता है वो होता है जाहिल, जो हम सबको पता है। ठीक है, जाहिल, जाहिल is somebody who ignores, negligent. So majhul is something that is negligent of what? Majhul is something that is negligent of a doer. It doesn't know, it ignores its doer, right? That's what passive does, right? So that's why it's called a majhul, because it's a jahil fail, basically.
So if
असल में उसे
someone doesn't,
मजहूल
That's
ने
what it is.
मजहूल ने जाहिल को छुपा दिया।
तो फहद भाई अगर हमें ये ना पता हो कि किसने क्या हरकत की है तो हम जाहिल हो जाएंगे।
नहीं, आप मजहूल हैं।
अगर आप उसको
हम फाइल
इंटेंशनली निग्लेक्ट करेंगे तो फिर हो जाएंगे भाई, फिर तो हो जाएंगे। ठीक है,
ठीक है, काम का बुरा लगता था कोई जाहिल कहता था तो।
ठीक है, चले। आई होप इट क्लेरिफाइज फ्रॉम द प्रीवियस क्लास। मुझे लगा कि प्रीवियस क्लास वाज नॉट वेरी इफेक्टिव। तो आई होप आज आपको थोड़ा शायद क्लियर हुआ हो। इफ स्टिल नॉट क्लियर वी कैन कंटिन्यू इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास। नेक्स्ट क्लास में हम जरा इसको मजीद देखेंगे और प्रेजेंट टेंस की तरफ जाएंगे इंशाल्लाह, एंड देन विल ओपन अप द कुरान एंड ट्राई टू सी वेयर वी कैन फाइंड देम। ठीक है,
इंशाअल्लाह।
चले,
थैंक यू
बहुत शुक्रिया, जज़ाकल्लाह, अस्सलाम
अल्लाह
वालेकुम।
हाफिज।